Good afternoon, my Real News Midday TV family. Welcome back to the channel for another news update for Wednesday, October 29, 2025. And in the news this afternoon, flash flood watch in effect for several parishes. A flash flood watch is now in effect for northern, southwestern, and the south-central parishes as additional rainfall could lead to localized flooding and landslides, especially in low-lying and flood-prone areas, according to the Meteorological Services of Jamaica. However, the tropical storm warning in effect for Jamaica has been discontinued. In its latest bulletin, the Met Service said the center of Hurricane Melissa was located near latitude 20.6 degrees north, longitude 75.7 degrees west, which is about 220 kilometers or 140 miles north-northeast of Utrecht, Jamaica. Hurricane Melissa is moving toward the north-northeast near 14 miles per hour. On the forecast track, the core of Melissa is expected to move offshore eastern Cuba on Wednesday morning. Maximum sustained winds are now near 165 kilometers per hour or 105 miles per hour with higher gusts. Melissa is expected to remain a powerful hurricane when it moves across the southeastern Bahamas later Wednesday and passes near Bermuda on Thursday night. Hurricane-force winds extend outward up to 45 kilometers or 30 miles from the center, and the tropical storm-force winds extend outward up to 295 kilometers or 185 miles. Doppler radar and the satellite imagery indicated that rain bands associated with Hurricane Melissa continue to occasionally move across a section of Jamaica's northern parishes, producing moderate to heavy rainfall. Light to moderate showers are also affecting other areas of the island, the Met Service said. Hurricane Melissa is expected to produce additional rainfall over Jamaica on Wednesday, amounts reaching 75 to 150 milliliters or 3 to 6 inches, with higher totals over mountainous terrain are possible. Further flash flood and additional landslides could continue on Wednesday. Although damaging winds are gradually subsiding across Jamaica, the Met Service said periods of tropical storm force winds may still affect sections of northern parishes, while strong gusty winds are likely to continue over some southern areas. Large waves are also expected along the coastal areas of the island on Wednesday. Small craft operators are therefore advised to exercise extreme caution as sea conditions will deteriorate in strong gusty winds, showers, and thunderstorms. Montego Bay wakes up to destruction after Hurricane Melissa. As the day cleared on Wednesday, the damage became more evident in Montego Bay, St. James. Throughout Tuesday, it was clear that there was going to be severe damage as Hurricane Melissa tossed the roofs throughout the city. But on Wednesday morning, sections of the city showed signs of massive destruction, with roofs and debris strewn along the roadways, painting the dire picture of what took place during Tuesday's passage of Hurricane Melissa. Reports are that sections of Catherine Hall and the West Green communities have faced serious flooding issues, with a massive buildup in silt in places. There were also reports of serious damage to the Saxor International Airport, particularly the departure area. A number of government buildings have been impacted as well, but the extent has not been fully ascertained. However, there were reports of broken windows at the St. James Municipal Corporation building. All clear issued following Hurricane Melissa, utilities to move to restoration mode. The government has issued an all-clear for Jamaica following the passage of Hurricane Melissa. This following guidance from the Meteorological Service of Jamaica and the Office of Disaster Preparedness and Emergency Management amid the battering experience on Tuesday from the Category 5 storm. With the all-clear, utility companies should now commence restoration and recovery operations across the island. Further, crews from the Jamaica Public Service, National Water Commission, National Works Agency, telecommunications providers, and other critical service entities have been advised to mobilize immediately to restore power water, and communication networks. The government is also encouraging supermarkets, wholesales, gas stations, and pharmacies, particularly in the less affected areas, to reopen where possible to ensure that communities have access to essential goods and services. Jamaicans are reminded to continue exercising caution, especially in areas where downed power lines, debris, or flooding may still pose risk. Really scary, Nashville Mandeville man recounts a terrible Hurricane Melissa. If my faith never strong, me woulda go crazy to how this hurricane behave. Layford Johnson, a resident of Nashville in Mandeville, Manchester, said as he recalled the terrifying experience as Hurricane Melissa ripped through his home on Tuesday. Johnson, 68, described the experience as terrible, stating that the Category 5 storm ripped off zinc from his roof, damaged the ceiling, and flooded his home. "This is the worst one me ever passed through," he declared. "This a girl I really. When me say Hurricane Melissa no ordinary, extraordinary girl this a pass through. Him rip up everything," he continued. He said he rode out the storm with a neighbor who took shelter at his home. "Me did prepare, me decided to stay in. It was dangerous to even look outside. It was so dangerous," said Johnson, calling his experience really scary. He said Hurricane Melissa was the worst storm he has ever experienced. "Hurricane Gilbert was my first experience. Hurricane Melissa cannot compare to Gilbert. It can't compare to Ivan. Beryl wasn't even so bad, but this is the worst hurricane we could have ever experienced." Face the reopening of islands airports anticipated following Melissa, says AAJ. The Airports Authority of Jamaica says following a detailed assessment, phase the reopening of the island's international airports and the domestic aerodromes is anticipated amid the passage of Hurricane Melissa. AAJ says all the airports remain closed at this time. The authority says more will be communicated to the public later today. Hurricane Melissa makes landfall in Cuba after pummeling Jamaica. Hurricane Melissa was grinding across Cuba on Wednesday, weakening to a Category 2 storm after pummeling Jamaica as one of the strongest Atlantic hurricanes on record, the U.S. National Hurricane Center said. Hundreds of thousands of people in Cuba had been evacuated to shelters. A hurricane warning was in effect for Granma, Santiago de Cuba, Guantanamo, Holguin, and the Las Tunas provinces, as well as the southeastern and the central Bahamas. Melissa had top sustained winds of 105 miles per hour or 165 kilometers per hour and was moving north-northeast at 14 miles per hour or 22 kilometers per hour, according to the National Hurricane Center in Miami. The hurricane was centered 45 miles or 70 kilometers northwest of Guantanamo, Cuba, and 205 miles or 335 kilometers south of the central Bahamas. The agency warned that preparations for the storm in the Bahamas should be rushed to completion. Guys, thank you for watching. See you this evening at 6 p.m. for another news update.